What's up, YouTube fam? It's the NOB, the number one boomer. Appreciate y'all for stopping in. Hope y'all are doing well. Let's get right into it. All right. All right. All right. All right. So, what you see in front of you right now are two USB drives. The reason why you see these in front of you right now is because just a few days ago, I almost lost my entire library, all 200 songs. I almost lost it. Doesn't sound like much, but for me, I mean, that was a big deal. That would have been a big deal. That would have been a major setback. Trying to recoup those 200 songs, just trying to get it back to where it was, particularly in my stage or phase of learning. Being so basic, it seems like I'm spending so much time, or I just feel like I need to be focused definitely on just learning basics and just getting better as a DJ, not rebuilding a library. That, like I said, that would have taken hours, probably days. Would have been a major setback. I'm not even, to be honest, if I hadn't have been able to recover those songs, I'm not sure when the next time I would have even done a video. I mean, it would have seriously killed my momentum that I have fortunately been able to kind of sustain the past several months. So, but it was real scary. Um, Fortunately, I was able to get onto the drive one last time and managed to get my all my songs off, all my MP3s off. I mean, it really was a miracle. So, with that being said, and I didn't have any backups. I didn't think I had enough songs in my library. I guess I didn't think my library was strong enough for some reason to make backups, or for that to be something that was pressing on me, even though it had crossed my mind numerous times. NOB, go ahead, make that backup, just in case. I know your library's weak, whatever, but just go ahead and do it. I kept putting it off, kept putting it off, kept putting it off. So it's not like something that didn't cross my mind. I just kept putting it off. And lo and behold, uh one second my library was accessible, and the next minute it wasn't. It was corrupted. So here before you, I have two USBs that I was contemplating getting. And as you can see to the right, here's a sandbox. It has a nice record box, casing on it and whatnot. And it looks pretty nice. It's a 512, even though I'm being told by my sweetheart that 256 should be adequate for what I'm going to do. And then to your left, you see a Chroma USB, which it seems to be highly rated in the DJ community, from what I can tell. And I think some of it's supposed to be very rugged, tough, and durable. Has a nice metal case, whereas the record box, has a plastic case. Which, I mean, if that's not an issue for you, then that's fine. But the Chroma seems like something you can just throw in your backpack, and it'll kind of take a little abuse, and you won't have to babysit it as much. Maybe it's my understanding that theoretically the record box drive is maybe a little bit faster in theory, but at the same time, they say, I don't have the data and test results to actually prove this myself, but they say that the Chroma USB actually is faster. It's coded, or it's supposed to be able to do some things actually faster in real world. So, but I think I'm gonna end up going with the Chroma. And as you can see here, I'm on there. I'm not getting paid by Chroma or DJ Tech Tools to do this, but as you can see, I'm on their website. But I see this nice little custom logo here, which it seems like if you put an image up there, it'd be pretty cool to have an image up there. Kind of customize it. I thought that'd be pretty cool. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Whenever I get enough money, raise enough funds to make that happen. So anyway, I just wanted to impress upon you the importance of making a library, making a backup of your libraries. Make 2 or 3 backups. Even if your library isn't very strong, very very big, it's still, it would be painful to lose what you have. Be a major setback. So don't be a bonehead like the NOB. Make you plenty, at least maybe 3, at least 2, 3 backups. All right, so I'm going to minimize that, and then we are going to look at some information, video about some loops. I thought this was very, very helpful. Let's see if I can. No, I don't want it full screen. I thought this was very helpful, particularly in the place I am in my journey. Now, I've been setting loops manually this entire time, and the way I've been doing it is utilizing the pressing the in and out button on the fly, and just using those buttons up top. And I'll show you my method that I've been doing. And I saw this video, it popped up. I was like, well, let me just see what, it doesn't hurt to listen and to learn something. I mean, you never know what may actually, you might end up adopting into your knowledge base. So just so you can have options. I guess that was the main reason I was interested in it. I didn't, even though I knew the way I was doing it was working, I was just kind of like, well, let me just see if there are any alternate methods of doing it. And lo and behold, it seems like there are. So here we are. I'm going to let this gentleman here just kind of walk us through. I'll probably fast forward through some of this information. We're not gonna sit there and watch this whole thing. I think it's like 21 minutes, so you can go and take a look at the full video yourself, which I suggest you do. But like I said, this is kind of where I am trying to firm up my looping, just get really comfortable with a variety of methods of looping. At some point he even gets into talking about how to set loops onto your pads, onto your controller pads and stuff. So, just giving me more concepts as I continue to hopefully grow and evolve. I may, the more I know, the more concepts and things I'll be able to, more creativity that I hopefully will be able to, just express, just knowing more techniques. So without further ado, let's get into it. This is Crossfader. Go subscribe to him if you haven't already. It's probably old news. Looks like this video is like a year old, but anyway, let's get to it.
Okay, beginners, let's talk about the fundamentals of looping, how to set them, and what they actually mean. If you're an improver or you're a pro, just skip using the timestamps to where you think
far
you
from
are.
it.
For all the beginners, let's just talk about the basics. So you can loop in 2 different ways. You can use the loop controls at the top of a standard DJ Flex 4.
And this is the method I've always used, the method he's talking about now.
Any beginner controller, or you can use the beat effects down here.
I had never used the beat effects before.
Both of them. So on this track here, if I wanted to set a loop, I can press in and then press out, and it's as simple as that. This is a 4-beat loop. 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3. We can use these parameters to halve the loop. So that's 2 beats. Now 1 beat, half beat, quarter beat, and we can exit using this button here. We can also do it on the parameters down here. So if we go back to the beginning of this track, open up these beat parameters, and you can see on the controls here, inside of Rekordbox, we've got the different loop parameters. If I press play and I select 1 beat, you can see it's represented on screen here. I've got 2 beats, half beat, quarter beat.
So it's going to set from where your the middle marker is, it looks like it's going to set from there, if I'm not correct, if I'm not mistaken. Let me see here.
We've got the different loop parameters. If I press play
So you just
and I select
tap the one button.
beat, you can see it's represented on screen here. I've got 2 beats,
Right.
half beat, quarter beat. There's one more fundamental control you need to know as a beginner, which is loop tightening using the loop controls up here. So if I press play, I'll set a 1 beat loop. And then we can press the out or the in button. I'll press the out button. Then using a jog wheel, I can start to tighten this loop.
See, I didn't know about that either. I thought that was pretty cool. I thought it was really cool,
forwards,
actually.
It'll extend the loop longer. And this
Sounds
is where
good.
you'll hear the pros creating tension before a big build up or a drop. Something like that. So as a beginner, how can you start to use looping? Well, one way would be to extend a mix. When you start DJing, maybe you're playing electronic music, maybe you're playing open format, you might be working with a lot of radio edits. So we've got 2 radio tracks here, Around and Energy, and they don't have typical intros. If I play the Energy track here from the beginning, you can see there's no kick drum, there's not a big long 32 beats intro, so it's quite difficult to mix this in, especially if you're a beginner DJ. And similarly with this song Around, it ends quite abruptly. There's not like a long 64 beats where you can mix out of. It sort of ends quite dramatically and then just tails off. So one way we can use looping is to create an intro or create an outro. So what we can do is we can look through this track Energy, and towards the end of the track here, if I skip through,
Notice he used a concept, track energy. Track energy. Sound pretty cool, right? As DJs, we have to pay attention to stuff like that. Gotta pay attention to track energy.
So we've got a little bit of instrumental here. We've got about 32 beats. So what I can do on here is we can just pause it there. We'll set a cue point. So if I just delete these cue points for now, I'll set a cue point on the end here. I like to set the outros on the final cue point on this Flex 4. So we've got the start cue point. I'll set a cue point on the end here. I like to set the outros on the final cue point on this Flex 4. So we've got the start of our outro here. Then what I want to do is go and set a cue point on where we can start the track from. So there's no point having a cue point set up here because it's silence. What I really want to do is, when I'm mixing this track in, I really want it to drop in from here. So I'm going to delete that first cue point, and then I'm going to set a cue point here. Now the idea is to be playing this track. We can open up our beat loop, which is shift and beat jump here. We can set 16 beats. So this is going to loop every 16 beats. So it's a nice instrumental drum loop, and this will go infinitely now. So what we can then do, if we time it right, we want to have the quantize on. We'll talk about that in a second. But if we go 1, 2, 3, 4, all of a sudden we've created our own intro to this track, which we can then use to mix in to our track Around on deck number 1. So the reason we turned quantize on is to help with timing. Quantize will help the beats stay on time. Whereas if you were to do it without quantize, you would have to rely on pressing the cue point perfectly on beat. The quantize is basically referencing all of these grid markers here. So you can see on a standard track, you've got these little white markers, and then the red marker will show every 4 beats. So the quantize will make sure that it stays on them beats. All right, so we've got our hot cues set up. Now, how do we mix in? So using fundamentals of DJing, we need the BPMs of the tracks to be the exact same. So we're gonna go for 106. I'll try and get it dead on. 106.01, don't worry about the 01. So when do we need to mix in? So let's go to the end of the track around. So that's where it starts to, this is the final drop basically. It's the big impact final drop. And then it kind of carries on. So what I want to do is I'm going to go here to this track, and then I'm going to set up our loop. So we're going to go open up our beats. You can do it on the screen if you want to, or on your controller. I'm going to set a 16 beat loop here. We could do 32 as well, or we can do 16. Either will work.
And he's toggling
So now we need to think
between
about
loop size just by pressing the pads down here. See, I did 16. That pad right there is 16 loop, 16 beat, and just by pressing this next one here is the 32. It extends it out to 32 just by the press of a button there. So, like, I had to, you know, some of this stuff I probably need to go back and watch it a couple more times. I'm a little not very observant.
Okay, we need to be ready to, on a turn of phrase, when this drops in, trigger our next track. So as this is building up, we've got our BPMs matched. Pressing play on phrase. I'm just going to cut the lows. I'm going to start to mix in. Let's start to just swap out these low ends. So bringing in the lows on deck number 2, removing them on deck number 1. 1, 2, 3, 4. And that allows for a seamless transition using looping to extend a radio edit track, which comes in really useful.
All right, then we're going to jump to this next one a little bit.
By the way, if you want to practice these skills and unlock even more tricks, we've built a completely free looping course.
Okay, he's going to sell his course here. You know, it's up to you. I may end up taking a course at some point in time myself, just not at the moment. I don't know. I feel like there's a lot of information out here that I'm finding useful already without taking a course, but at some point I may choose to do so. Let me see here. But just things like this, you know, just practicing this. So for the past, I would say past few days, the past few sessions, I put it that way, past few days, I have spent, you know, a fair amount of time just practicing, you know, some of the loops methods and just kind of setting them, getting used to utilizing the pads to set loops, and even playing with the jog wheel and stuff like that. So it's been very, very helpful. So very helpful, very cool, very helpful. All right, let me see here.
Looping course. So you can go grab it now. The link is...
All right, looks like he has some preset loops coming up. He's gonna get ready to show us what's up with those. Okay, setting the loop. Okay. That's very interesting that how the loop placement with the word play kind of going on. You know, you can use your loops to just create some word play there. So very, very interesting. Very interesting.
Okay, let's move on to the improver. We're just going to increase the skill level slightly, and we're going to use a feature called active loops. So we've got two tracks here. We've got Undulating on deck number 1, and we've got Pump by Chris Lorenzo, the AC Slater remix, on deck number 2. Now, one key to creating really good loops is trying to find tracks that have what we call isolated vocals. So if I play you this Pump track, it's got this great little 4-beat vocal section, which we can do loads and loads of creative stuff with. So this section here, so we can do a lot with that and get really creative. So what we're going to do is we're going to set 3 different active loops. An active loop is basically just like a hot cue. You can jump to it at any time, but it will trigger the loop. So what I'll do is I'll delete the ones that I have and I'll show you where we're going to set them. So first of all, we're going to set a 4-beat loop and we're going to save them. So the first one is this. So we've got a 4-beat loop, and I like to set my active loops on the bottom 4 rows, and I like my hot cues on the top 4 rows.
Okay.
So all we do is, so that is now set. So no matter where I am in the track,
looks straightforward enough.
I can press this, and it will automatically loop. Now we're going to set 3 different active loops. That's the first one. The second one is a 2-beat loop on a different section. We're going to loop it from here, where it says pump me up. So we've got a 2-beat loop. And the final one is just the final beat, a 1-beat loop, just before the drop. And that's it. So we've got 3 active loops there set, and we've got this one, 4 beats. We've got a 2-beat and a 1-beat. So without anything happening on deck number 1, we can already start to think about a pattern that we might use to create a routine using loops. So we can go. So that's all good. We've got our active loop set. Now, how do we create a transition out of that? So we've got a hot cue set on a long build-up of a track. So this track, Undulating, it's got a really nice long build-up, so that when we're coming into this track, so as this track's building up, the audience thinks the drop's coming in, but we're gonna use this active loop technique and bring in the next track. So instead of that drop coming in, we're actually going to be bringing in our next track. So we've got our hot cue set up, and both tracks are on 128 BPM. We've got our active loop. So as this track's building up,
Pay attention.
you can either do the first one manually or trigger your active loop. Let's
Blink
do the
and you
active
miss
loop.
it.
1, 2, 3, 4. Loop is set. Now let's bring in the next track.
Okay. Okay. Wordplay, baby. Wordplay.
So as you can see there, using different patterns with these active loops, we can really swap out the drop that's incoming for our new track quite creatively. You can also elevate this slightly by adding in some effects on the build-up. So I've got this empty delay here, so if I play you that, you can see it adds even more drama.
All right, we're going to skip ahead. We're going to skip to this last one. I told you I was trying not to sit there and watch all of this because I was trying to keep the video relatively, So y'all, like I said, y'all be sure to go through, check out the entire video. We're going to jump to this next method, I think. We'll see what he's talking about. I just see the, the chapters here. Let's see if he gets into.
In the next example, I'm going to switch back to a Flex 4 just to show you that pro techniques can be done on beginner DJ equipment. Also, remember to check out the free looping course in the comments and in the description.
So this is for the Flex 4 guys, or for me, I'm still on the DDJ 400. Like my last video, I said I had a GRV6, which I do. I still have not. It's still in the box. It's still in the closet. Haven't used it once. So hopefully it still works whenever I decide to get to it. But that kind of gets back to to my last video and why I don't feel the need to rush to the GRV6. Yeah, it's bigger, it looks cooler, whatever, but the techniques, the concepts, you know, that's what I'm really after. The equipment, all that's just a tool to get get our creativity out, So, but this is the important stuff here. So I can eat, I can do this just as easy, if not easier, probably on this on the or Flex 4 or my DDJ 400 than I can, trying to, like I said, that doesn't even have the pads on the bottom there. So, but it has, it's just a different, more of a CDJ 3000 setup. So, but I guess what I'm saying is I'm comfortable here with the DDJ 400 still learning these concepts, and these concepts are going to transfer, they should transfer to whatever piece of equipment that we end up getting. So again, I guess my point is focus. Let's focus on the skill and getting these fundamentals and techniques down, and then we'll worry about the equipment will come. The equipment will come. All right, let's just see him do it on the Flex 4, and then I think we're going to wrap this up. Okay, now that answered it. All right.
Okay, moving on to the pro technique. What we're going to do is we're going to talk about the tempo fader, we're going to talk about pitch, and we're going to use loop tightening as well. So we're going to use the same two tracks as before. We've got undulating and pump on deck number 2. Okay, so the difference with this technique is we're not going to use our memory cues. We're going to solely rely on the loop tightening. And to perform this, what we'll do is as this track's building up, we'll set a 4-beat loop, but then we need to change it to a 2-beat loop. And we're not just going to do it by shortening it, because we actually need to move the loop. So what I mean is, as this track's building up, 1, 2, 3, 4. So we've got a 4-beat loop, but I don't just want to halve it like this. What I want to do is actually change the loop to start here. So it says pump me up. So what we're going to do is we're going to exit and set a 2-beat loop, and it happens quite quickly. So now we've got a totally different loop in a totally different place. So we're going to go through that again as it's building up. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2. We're going to exit. Pump me up. And we need to do that on beat as this track is building in. 3, 4, 1, 2. We're going to exit. Pump me up. And we need to do that on beat as this track is building in. So that is the technique of the where to set the loop. Then we're going to go one step further. We have the pitch set to plus 16, and we've got the master tempo off. Now that's important. Step number 1 though will be to hit this out button. Now we've got total control of this loop and the jog wheel to tighten this loop, and it's going to sound offbeat, but it's going to bring some amazing sort of drama and tension. So now the loop gets shorter and shorter, so we get this kind of noise. Then the reason we've got the master tempo off is because we want to increase the pitch. So now when I bring this tempo fader down or increase the speed, you can see it's rising. We've created this riser effect. And then as it drops in, we can almost bring it down dramatically to create almost like a break effect. So all that put together is going to give us a really dramatic drop when this track comes in. So what we do is, as this track's building in, the first thing we have to do is set our 4-beat loop. So ready for the 4-beat loop, and then we're going to bring in our builder. 1, 2, 3, 4. We've got that loop set. Now we can bring in our next track.
Okay.
Then on the next turn of phrase, I really want to
I don't know if my
change
fingers are.
that loop of where it
My
sits
fingers are fast enough.
to a
for
2-beat loop.
this. Oh, okay,
We've
all
got
right.
the 2-beat set now. Press out. We're going to bring this
Okay.
down.
And then he's gonna see now. Now I did notice with this, and even with him doing it, that when you're manually doing the jog wheel, it can sound off a bit. Like even when he's doing it, I notice it sounds just a bit out, just a bit off. The speed of it, I guess. So I guess that's something I'm working with, and everybody's different. So and everybody's looking for just has their unique way of doing things and their perception of what they're trying to convey artistically. So I mean, for him maybe that sounds good, but to me, at a certain size loop, when you're moving that jog wheel, it can sound a little bit wonky. And
We're going to bring this down.
listen, you see how it kind of gets, I don't know, it just doesn't sound very clean
And then
at
just
certain
bring it down like
points.
that, creating immense drama, immense tension. And when that drops in a club, I've seen it time and time again, it gets an
At least
unbelievable
in my-
crowd reaction.
In my
It works
opinion,
everything
let's look
down
at it
like-
again.
Down. We've got the 2-beat set now. Press out. We're going to bring this down.
Like right in there. Now it's sounding fine again.
Bring the fader up.
It's sounding great now, but it's just like this
And
little.
then just bring it down like that, creating immense drama, immense tension. And when that drops in a club, I've seen it time and time again, it gets
It's like this little window in between one of the beats there. I can't remember which one it is, but it just sounds a little off. But let's go.
unbelievable crowd reaction.
Let's
And it
go,
works every time.
tribe.
If you did want to take that technique further, you could maybe add a little reverb to that. You could
right.
set up the break effect on any DJ software so that when you stop it, it has a little.
All right, maybe that's another video for another day. Setting up your break. I don't know, record box setting and setting your break to make that sound and stuff like that. So, but anyway, I think I'm trying to wrap this up. This has probably gone on a lot longer than it should have. I just wanted to, I mean, yeah, you could have taken time to look at this by yourself, but I thought I don't know, it might be cool for us to just look at it together and analyze things. And I'm sure I missed some stuff, but these loops and stuff, this is something that I'm going to probably be actively practicing for the next, it's gonna be a major part of my practice for the next few weeks at least, until I get fairly comfortable with all of the techniques there, and then at some point I'm sure it's just a matter of just preference and what I kind of gravitate to. But I think it's wonderful just being able to know the different, that there are other ways and methods of setting loops. And I think that the wordplay with the loops and stuff, because I do want to get into utilizing vocals and stuff even in the genre I do, even though it's not necessarily a big thing to do. I do want to do that. So I think utilizing those loops on the pads and stuff is going to be, I think that might be pretty cool. So all right, so what else? Anything else I wanted to talk about? No. Let me end it. Running my mouth too long. Hey y'all, I appreciate y'all for stopping in once again, spending time with the old man. Leave some comments if I mess something up, or if you think there's something else I need to look at first or do better, or if I just said something wrong and I need to correct something, or you would need to correct me, just let me know. Drop it in the comments. Help me, help the tribe. You know, we're all growing together. So like I say, be sure to like, share, subscribe, comment, and peace. I love y'all, man.